Mahavira is best remembered in the Indian traditions for his teaching that ahimsa is the supreme moral virtue. He taught that ahimsa covers all living beings, and injuring any being in any form creates bad karma. Here is a detailed bio of Mahavira from birth to death. If you love this type of bio reading videos, let's make one. Subscribe to my channel now. Let's start. Mahavera, also known as Vardhamana, was born in 599 BCE in the city of Vaishali, in the region that is now Bihar, India. He was the son of King Siddhartha and Queen Trishala, who belonged to the Ikshvaku dynasty. This royal lineage provided him with a privileged upbringing in a culturally rich environment, filled with the teachings of various philosophies and spiritual practices prevalent in ancient India. Queen Trishala is said to have had a series of auspicious dreams before Mahavira's birth, indicating the arrival of a great soul. These dreams are considered significant in Jain tradition, symbolizing his future greatness and spiritual prowess. As a child, Mahavira was known for his intelligence, empathy, and moral integrity, characteristics that would later define his teachings. Mahavira was educated in various subjects, including philosophy, art, and the scriptures of the time. His upbringing instilled in him a sense of duty and a profound understanding of ethics and morality. He married Yasoda, a noblewoman of his time, and they lived a life of comfort and wealth. Despite his royal status, Mahavira felt an inner restlessness and a growing dissatisfaction with the material world. The turning point in Mahavira's life came with the death of his parents. At the age of 30, deeply affected by their passing, he began to question the nature of life, death, and existence. This existential inquiry led him to renounce his royal heritage, abandoning his wife and family to seek spiritual enlightenment. Leaving behind his luxurious life, Mahavira adopted the life of an ascetic, embracing austerity and simplicity. He wore minimal clothing, often just a piece of cloth, and lived on alms, wandering from village to village. His journey as an ascetic was not just a physical detachment from worldly possessions but a profound inner quest to understand the nature of the self and the universe. For the next 12 years, Mahavira practiced severe austerities, which included fasting, meditation, and the study of ancient scriptures. He encountered various spiritual teachers and sought wisdom from different traditions, but none provided the answers he sought. His rigorous penance and ascetic practices were aimed at conquering the body and its desires, leading him closer to the ultimate truth. At the age of 42, while meditating under a sal tree near Jimbhikagrama, Mahavira attained Kevala Jnana, or absolute knowledge. This moment of enlightenment marked him as a Tirthankara, a spiritual guide who had achieved liberation from the cycle of birth and death. In this state of perfect knowledge, Mahavira realized the nature of the universe, the workings of karma, and the importance of self-realization. His enlightenment was not merely a personal achievement. It signified the awakening of a spiritual teacher who would guide countless others towards liberation. Post-enlightenment, Mahavira spent the next 30 years teaching and sharing his profound insights. He began to articulate his understanding of the world and human existence, emphasizing key principles that became the foundation of Jain philosophy. 1. Ahimsa, non-violence. Central to Mahavira's teachings is the principle of ahimsa. He taught that all living beings, from the smallest insect to the largest mammal, possess a soul and deserve compassion. His emphasis on non-violence influenced not only Jain practices but also the broader ethos of peace and coexistence in Indian philosophy. 2. Aparigraha, non-possessiveness. Mahavira preached that attachment to material possessions leads to suffering. He encouraged his followers to cultivate detachment from worldly goods and desires. This principle also encompasses non-attachment to relationships and emotions, promoting a state of equanimity. 3. Satya, truthfulness. Mahavira stressed the importance of truth in thought, word, and deed. He taught that living in accordance with the truth purifies the soul and helps in the quest for liberation. Deception and falsehood, in any form, were seen as obstacles on the spiritual path. 4. Brahmacharya, celibacy. While recognizing the diversity of paths individuals might take, Mahavira advocated for celibacy as a means to transcend desires and attachments. He believed that sexual desire can distract from spiritual pursuits, and thus, renouncing such desires was essential for those seeking enlightenment. 5. Karma and rebirth. Mahavira elucidated the concept of karma, emphasizing that every action has consequences that shape future births. He taught that liberation, moksha, is achieved by purifying the soul through right conduct, knowledge, and penance, ultimately freeing it from the cycle of birth and rebirth. 6. Sayadvada, conditional statement. One of the sophisticated philosophical contributions of Mahavira is the concept of Sayadvada, which emphasizes the relativity of truth. This doctrine advocates that truths are contextual and can be viewed from multiple perspectives, promoting an understanding that transcends absolutism. Following his enlightenment, Mahavira traveled extensively throughout northern India, teaching and sharing his insights with diverse communities. His teachings attracted many followers, and he began to form a structured community of monks and laypersons dedicated to the Jain path. Mahavira's disciples, known as the Ganadharas, were instrumental in spreading his teachings. They traveled with him, learned from him, and eventually took on the responsibility of teaching and preserving his philosophy. Among them was Indrabhuti Gautama, his chief disciple, who played a crucial role in articulating and systematizing Jain teachings. Mahavira's community was characterized by strict adherence to the principles of non-violence, truth, and asceticism. He established an order of monks and nuns, outlining a code of conduct that emphasized ethical living and spiritual discipline. The monastic community lived in harmony, practicing communal rituals and engaging in acts of service and compassion. The lay community, composed of householders, was encouraged to practice Jain values in their daily lives while supporting the monastic order. This dual structure of the monastic and lay community helped Jainism flourish, ensuring the transmission of Mahavira's teachings to future generations. As Mahavira's influence grew, he faced challenges from followers of other philosophical and religious traditions. He engaged in debates with various sects, including the materialists, Lokyatas, Buddhists, and followers of Brahmanical traditions. Despite the opposition, Mahavira remained steadfast in his teachings, advocating for a life of integrity and ethical conduct. One of the notable challenges came from the Brahmanical tradition, which held different views on rituals, caste, and the nature of the soul. Mahavira's emphasis on personal spiritual experience and moral living clashed with the ritualistic practices of the time. However, his ability to engage in dialogue and debate helped clarify and strengthen Jain philosophy, attracting a diverse following. In his later years, Mahavira returned to the region of his birth, near Vaishali. He continued to teach, emphasizing the importance of his principles and the need for adherence to the Jain path. His health began to decline, and he knew that his time on earth was drawing to a close. At the age of 72, Mahavira passed away in Pavapuri, a town near modern-day Bihar. His death, known as nirvana or moksha, was viewed as the culmination of his earthly existence and a return to the ultimate state of liberation. Jains celebrate his passing as a moment of deep reverence and reflection, recognizing his profound impact on spiritual thought and ethical living. Mahavira's teachings laid the foundation for Jainism as a distinct religious tradition, emphasizing principles of non-violence, truth, and ethical living. Jainism grew significantly after his death, evolving into a structured faith with its own rituals, scriptures, and philosophical discourse. The Tattvartha Sutra, authored by Umaswati, is one of the earliest texts summarizing Jain philosophy and was significantly influenced by Mahavira's teachings. The Agamas, the canonical scriptures of Jainism, also document Mahavira's discourses and the principles he espoused. His teachings have had a profound impact beyond Jainism, influencing the philosophies of Buddhism and Hinduism. Mahatma Gandhi, a pivotal figure in India's struggle for independence, drew heavily on Jain principles, especially the concept of ahimsa, advocating for non-violent resistance against oppression. His approach to social justice, civil rights, and peace was rooted in the teachings of Mahavira, demonstrating their relevance across time and cultures. Mahavira is commemorated annually on Mahavir Jayanti, the festival celebrating his birth. Jains around the world observe this day with rituals, prayers, and community gatherings, reflecting on his teachings and their significance in contemporary life. Mahavira's life and teachings embody a profound commitment to spiritual truth and ethical living. His journey from a royal prince to a revered Tirthankara highlights the transformative power of renunciation and the pursuit of enlightenment. The principles he established continue to resonate in today's world, promoting values of non-violence, compassion, and respect for all living beings. Mahavira's legacy endures through the Jain community, which remains dedicated to his teachings, fostering a culture of peace, ethical living, and spiritual growth. His influence extends beyond religious boundaries, reminding humanity of the importance of love, truth, and self-discipline in achieving a harmonious. Now my friend, you know who was Mahavira, why he was famous for. Let's make one like together for this great man, and I would like to thank you my friend for subscribing my channel. Now let's take a leave and again meet at another interesting story. Up to that time, goodbye, have a nice day my friend. May God bless you.